I have to say I'm probably guilty of that at certain times. However, I have learned that with live streaming, the best thing you can do is actually think about the things that went right. Like right now, I'm live streaming. And just before, I thought I had pressed the button that said go live, and I had not. So I did the whole live, not live. But that's okay because now I'm here live. So, talking about trash talking yourself is what we're talking about today. And if you're not sure who I am, my name is Rose Cayazzo. I also go by Jackson Hole Rose because I live in the mountains of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Now, this painting is not necessarily the mountains of Jackson Hole, but I do live in the mountains. And I love them so, so much that this always sits in the background. So let's talk today about trash talking. Okay. Trash talking is bad. You know this. But sometimes it just takes over in your brain and it wants to just keep go, 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 go. These are all the bad things you did. So my message today is about, first of all, watching your live streams. A lot of people will do a live stream or do a video and they won't even watch it. So the purpose to do live streaming, if you're uncomfortable and unsure and you don't want to freeze and all these different things, is you want to feel comfortable on camera. So if you're feeling like you're uncomfortable on camera, the first thing you want to do is you want to watch your videos. So that way you can see what you did right, not what you did wrong. Because today I'm just going to mention 3 little things that are very important for when you live stream. And those are all having to do with your mindset, right? Which is really important. So I call it the success spiral effect. So what happens, you've heard of the butterfly effect. Of course you have. Like you do one little thing, it changes everything. That's not quite what we're talking about. We're talking about a success spiral effect, which means when you watch your live stream, you actually will take a look at your live stream and look at all the things that you did right, not wrong, right? Because what happens there is you're celebrating your wins. No matter how big or how small they are, you're celebrating. And this is a big deal because something big that I did right now is saying, okay, well, I'm in the frame. I just straightened my hair today, so it looks like, so I have fake people straight hair. My hair is naturally curly, in case you didn't know. So I was looking at the frame and how I'm positioned, which is terrific. But maybe I said the word and I really try not to do those ahs. But instead of saying that, I would say, oh, I noticed that I said in between something. And I'm going to make sure that the next time I don't do that. You see where I'm going with this. And also, you are actually programming your brain when you look at all the good things, all the things you're doing right. You're programming your brain to actually repeat those successes and feel good about going live. Now, there's lots of tips and tricks I can teach you, and I will do that over time. But I want to get into, the things about live streaming that people don't talk about. And one of those things is trash talking yourself. I've done it. Believe me, I've done it. In fact, when I was offered that live streaming show, and so I was forced to go live, is how I view it, right? Like, I'm expected to go live, so I need to practice, 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 which I did. But every time I would practice, I would watch the video and go, ugh. I would just get disgusted with myself. And really, you have to make sure that you are not going there. Do not go there, okay? We want to talk about big and small wins and nothing about the bad, okay? Because it programs your brain to repeat those successes. In addition to that, because I work with women specifically that are professionals, I like to use the word pro. If you're a professional, you're a pro, right? Pro is just kind of like a nicer word. So if you're a pro and in business and you own your business, right? You know that you're expected to do a lot of things, So as a woman business owner, if you look at the live stream that you did and watching it, instead of thinking it as a performance review, you remember those days in the corporate world, Rose? Yes, I do. Well, I usually always got great performance reviews until the last one I got in the corporate world, which was a bunch of lies. But we'll go into that another day. That has to do with my Symbol Technologies experience, which there's quite a detailed story there. But getting back to things, right? So instead of thinking it, this is like a pro perspective shift. So this is your shift. Instead of thinking of it as a performance review, you're thinking of it as your business portfolio. And I wanted to switch the camera around so that you could see, da, 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 and there it is. So you could see my screen here and what I do on my page, right? So this is my page. If you wanted to go there, you just go to facebook.com, Jackson Hole Rose. I'm on the videos tab, so I can show you my portfolio, right? So here's my portfolio. I have lots of videos that I've done. I've got all different outfits. I've got even something that went a little sideways over here. I've got all kinds of things that I've done here. And if I were to sit here and judge myself, I'd say, well, what the heck kind of face are you making here, Rose, right? Like, how do you start that? Well, or this, you could say, oh, why am I looking like that? I'm in a parking lot. See, Facebook makes the design of the thumbnail, so to speak, which I'm okay with. You know what? If it picks me having a weird face like that, then oh well. Because in the next second, I'm smiling. So if you understand what I'm saying, please write that below, that you know when you watch your live streams and you actually rewatch them, you know that sometimes you do things that aren't so great. And then other times you do things that are fantastico, right? Like this one, I did long ways, but I don't usually do it that way. And then this one, all of a sudden it's winter again. And there's me with a cowboy hat, right? So this is my portfolio. And this is what I wanted to make sure that you understood. When you watch your live streams, it's like looking at your portfolio. What did you do well? And pointing out those things to yourself. In addition to that, it's not a performance review, okay? Because those can be tough. I know my boyfriend has to do a performance review on himself. And he's like, I'm just going to give myself all 10s. And I'm like, well, dang it, you should do that if you want to. Well, you know, everyone does their reviews differently. But remember, it's not a review, it's a portfolio. It's the things you're doing right. I'm going to keep saying that. Okay. And the last piece that I'll say is growth through gratitude. So what do I mean by that? Growth through gratitude. It's like some people wake up in the morning, they're like, I gotta write down all the things I'm thankful for. I love that idea. Do I do it? No. I don't have time for that. I know. I could make time for it, but I actually do not do that. But what we're saying here is when you're watching your live streams, you're actually going to do like a little treasure hunt about the things that you did right. The things you did right, not the things you did wrong. Okay? Because if you start to look at the things you did wrong, immediately make a self-correct, which would be, oh, I see that, my head's out of the frame. I'll make sure next time that the camera's down further, right? So these are the types of things where you're like, oh gosh, I look like an idiot. But not really. The audience is really listening to your message and what you have to say. So again, you want to make sure it's like a little treasure hunt of all the things you did for your excellence, okay? So instead of self-review when you watch your live streams, think of it as self-love. Self-love. Ta-da! Okay, well, always remember F perfect. And I did want to tell you that someone asked me the other day what F meant in front of perfect. Yes, they did, and they're from another country, so we got to give them a little slack, right? I said, well, us Americans, we can be a little brash with our language, and so it actually means the cuss word, right? Which I will never say on the show. But it does mean F perfect in the sense that you could also use forget perfect. I kind of like that one. So F perfect, Forget perfect, you know, write it below because it's my fave. And remember to keep it real. And you can stand out by streaming live because it is your authentic edge. There's that stupid button again. I gotta get better at this, see? Okay, I gotta take it from the side. I'm not a lefty. How do we do this? Maybe I should Google, like, how to stop YouTube live stream with the X on the left. It just doesn't work, YouTube. No. Okay, well, as I was saying, F perfect, you know, keep it real and stand out by streaming live because it is your authentic edge in the AI age. I can't approach it that way. That looks ridiculous. Can I do it this way? No. How did I do it last time? Well, we'll have to figure it out.